Hello, hello. We are here once more with Gamebound, Plan Monsterhearts. I'm excited to get back to this, guys. This is like one of the only semi long running shows on Gamebound where we kind of take a fun random system and give it a whirl. I'm enjoying every moment of this game, despite its weirdness, despite its horniness, despite its full of weird monsters and vampires and things. So I think, in the show version of this, I think Monsterhearts is like a mini series or something. And I think there was some sort of like complication in the scheduling, right? And they missed a week or something. So they're doing like maybe the Super Bowl happened and they couldn't do their episode the normal time they would do it. And then I don't know. And so we get an extra long previously on segment this time, and I honestly think what we're gonna do is like I'm just gonna give like random snippets, right, like slightly out of context, but it's the way this would be framed is like funny out of context kind of random snippets from the weirdness that is this game.
But I need the context to remember what the heck
I know, we can talk about it. But so
I told you like the whole last episode.
I know, but still.
So the first thing we see, right? We see. Also, I realized we never named the town or the high school. So I give them names. We are in the town of Emmett
Sorry,
Falls.
we were trying to make your life easier, Caleb.
No problem.
Emmett
Falls is the name of the town. Population 60,000. We see the nuclear power plant where everyone works. We see the fact that the town is, and it's not in its heyday anymore, and it's slowly dying as people leave, or people never escape. We see a clearing with a bonfire. We see young people drinking beer around it, and we see two old buildings in the downtown area that has a perfect little alleyway where maybe a girl was murdered at some point. Who knows? But then we get a wide shot of the school, Emmett Falls Public High School, and right away we just see Gree looking at the two nerds, Ben Pearson and Noah Henderson, and they're talking, and we're getting music underneath this as like any previously on sequence would be, and we just hear Ben Pearson say pumpernickel, and we haven't really been able to hear the rest of the conversation, but then suddenly Gree shudders, and then we just cut away from it. Literally at the beginning of the game, the first episode, that I just asked you what would be a word that they'd say that would just like trigger something in your like repressed memory, and you just said that word, and I was like, okay, I still don't know what it means, but we get that random snippet. We see that we see Iceland sitting in the corner of the room, off to the side, looking out the window forlornly, and we see a day after day go by around her, and we see that this young girl in a hoodie just is the same always in the same clothes, doing the same thing. No one notices her. We pass on, and then we see Zaf swarmed by girls, and at first he's cool, calm, and popular regular human Zaf, right? Like just doing his thing. And then we see September, whatever, start of the school year, and Zaf walks in the door again, and we see that he's paler than he was before, and a little bit quieter, and then goes and sits down in his seat. And we hear some voiceover as we get like various shots of a strange man in horn-rimmed glasses, as well as a history teacher who may or may not be a vampire. We hear voiceovers along the lines of, he was one of the best in the program. Number 5. I have to get him back. If I don't, we'll never be able to complete what we've been working so hard to do. And then we see Quinn and Mr. Pearson, Eric Pearson, in that same alleyway that Iceland was murdered in so long ago. And Quinn says, well, you should have just come to me. I would have been able to find him. He goes to my class. If you would have mentioned him earlier than this, I would have been able to help you. But now it's going to cost you. And then we get this like, blackmail sort of situation between the two of them. And we see Zaf arguing with a man, a young college student who, or like college age student who works at a liquor store, and then things get a little violent. The door closes to the back of the liquor shop, and we just hear gurgling and sucking of blood. And then we see Zaf, wiping his face and leaving. And then Gree walks up to the door and is so confused, and he gets arrested, and then gets brought to jail. And then the horn-rimmed glasses man finds him and basically says, "Do you know who you are?" And then like we see Gree, shoving the papers at him and running out of the car and running away. And we see Iceland looking for Gree to try to tell him something important, and she goes to this party down by the clearing, and Garrett finds her and this jock who maybe is interested in her, and Iceland, they have an argument in the middle of the clearing, and Iceland basically tells him off and says, "You're not actually interested in me, or else you would, whatever," and then they break away. And then Zaf grabs Iceland and brings her into the woods, and everyone's like, "What is going on here?" And Amy Baker, the most popular girl in school, is staring daggers at Iceland, and then is beginning to plan to get back at Zaf. And we see Todd, who's been pining after Amy, this curly black-haired guy who's been kind of like trailing after Zaf. He goes to the lunchroom cafeteria like microphone where they do the announcements, and he says, "Amy, will you go to homecoming with me?" And she stares daggers at you, Zaf, and then says, "Yes, I will," and then goes up and like is all lovey-dovey with Todd. And then we see Zaf bringing Cassie Chandler, the nicest girl in school, back behind a building, and then sucking her blood, hypnotizing her, telling her that she was totally fine with that, and then asking her to come homecoming because he needs a date. We see all of this.
Everything's coming up Zaf.
Yeah, exactly. And we also, I think last we see, not last, but the second last, I think we see the corpse, the long dead bones of a priest in the wall of the school, preserved. He's wearing a red cross. Iceland suddenly face to face with him as she goes through the walls because she's a ghost. And then the last thing we see is Gree looking at the. There's one more thing that we have to recap before that. We see Iceland be pulled into a janitor's closet by the crazed janitor who's starting to figure everything out, and then Iceland, basically says, "Yeah, no one's gonna believe you." Walk into the wall, and then go to the school counselor who's been trying to get Iceland to tell her what's wrong, what's going on with her. And Iceland goes and basically says, "The janitor tried to sexually assault me." And we see the janitor basically being dragged away, screaming like, "I didn't do it! Like, she's a ghost! She's a ghost!" No one believes him. We see Miss Quinn find out about this situation, and then as the man is packing up his stuff after he's kind of calmed down, and they allow him to take all this stuff out of his office, out of his little closet there. We see Quinn, come into the room and then attack him. And then last, we see Gree, frustrated with his whole situation, not being able to find a way out, being stuck with Quinn because Quinn is using him as a pawn in the game she's playing with Mr. Pearson, step in front of a train. And that is, as the train blares its horn, we cut there and go to real time.
Okay, question. The
Yes.
thing I actually was hoping you'd clarify because I didn't remember. What was the important information that Iceland was trying to come to me with?
I don't know. I don't
So
remember.
so I do remember this. So basically, at some point, I knew like pretty much everything, and then for some reason, when I tried to tell him, I got blocked.
Yes. She's connected somehow. She knows something about the program and what you were involved in. And we saw a little bit of a snippet of Gree remembering something, and maybe it wasn't Iceland, maybe it was, you're not sure, but you remember seeing Iceland's face in, this girl in the same white rooms, like white hallways. You're in a gray jumpsuit. This girl's in a gray jumpsuit. It's Iceland's face. You're not sure what's going on. Iceland was going to tell you something about that, and then she like something about her connection with you or being close to you or something made her get a concussion and like drop to her knees, and like this whole big thing. But you are taking to Iceland. You did promise to take Iceland to homecoming.
Okay.
So
That sounds that sounds more familiar. The other part
And I
you
still
just
said like
mentioned
I would
doesn't.
try to help you remember and help you
Yeah.
get away from Miss Quinn. Like I still said I would
Yeah.
help you, but it was blocked. So yeah.
So that
although now you're locked up, so I don't know what
exactly. Yeah,
happen. You're gonna have to escape.
Gree is now currently locked up in Miss Quinn's basement. And basically she's like, "You're not leaving at all until I need to use you as a pawn to get what I want." So first thing we see after we get the dramatic previously on, I think we hear some sort of let's say we hear Downtown, the old classic song, start to come up in the soundtrack. It's this this kind of like cheesy 80s kind of like happy sequence. We see the town of Emmett Falls start its Tuesday, and then we get the shot on the little bulletin, the sign of this, that has the school name and then the little announcement or whatever is in the I don't even know what to call it. What is that called? Like where you switch the letters out on it, but like it's like a little board sign,
like a school
thing.
board. Yeah,
I know
But like
what
on the
you're talking about.
outside sign. I don't know what those are actually officially called, but you know what I'm talking about.
Board.
Yeah, I don't know. We see it say
bulletin board. Yeah, I don't know.
Spirit Week continues. Tacky Tourist Tuesday. Right. And we see various high schoolers in their tacky tourist outfits. So Zav, let's pick up with Zav first as he walks into school on Tuesday. What is your tacky tourist outfit?
I'm wearing everything that I normally wear, like I'm super cool. So, like jeans or something and like cool, like dark jacket or something. Everything's still like dark and the same as
of course.
what I usually do. But I am wearing white tennis shoes.
Okay.
The tackiest tourist move you can make.
Very good. Very good. That seems like a very Zaff outfit to do, where the lowest effort costume decision.
But the highest impact.
Yes, certainly. Because it's Zaff. If anyone else tried to pull this off, it wouldn't be well received. But Zaff does it. Everyone loves it. So, we see Zaff rolling up to school. And what's the vibe we get from Zaff? Let's see, what happened with Zaff last? Is everything going well for Zaff? Yeah, everything's going well for Zaff. You have Cassie Chandler's going with you to homecoming. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did we kind of see from Zaff? His vibe.
I don't think Zaff's vibe has really changed very much. Everything's going well with Cassie. He might as he walks into his desk, look over and give her a little nod.
Yeah, so we see on Cassie's face, she gets this bright beaming smile, right? And is obviously full on infatuated with you, whether or not because it's just the hypnotism or whatever, you're not sure even, but she's into this. And she smiles at you and all the girls notice and are oh, Zaph's going out with Cassie, what? And then we see, so Zaph, you give the nod and she smiles at you, and then kind of does a little shy kind of looks down at her notes and doodle something.
Look, after she looks down, if she glances back up, I'll throw her a wink.
Yeah, I think she definitely does. We have that little exchange where she's I think she's doodling something in a little notebook there, and she rips out the little piece, and folds it up nice and neatly, and then looks back up at you and kind of gives you a little shy smile.
Yeah, so I'll just throw a wink, and then I'm on my way to my desk.
Yeah, and then we just hear her pass it to Zap, and this the girls take it back and forth. The chain gets to you, and you get this little note from Cassie as you sit down, and I think it says I think it says, "What did you do to me?" Do you look back at Cassie?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah. So what we see, right, is we see Zaf just like look at this.
I
and,
think
like,
I probably like
ignore it.
pale even more.
Yeah, exactly. Ignore it, and then like, oh, okay. And then the focus of the shot changes, and we see Cassie like from behind your shoulder, and we just see her just staring straight ahead, and you can tell that she's pale. She's like maybe like breaking out into like a cold sweat a little bit, and we just see her like kind of staring ahead at nothing. And then another girl like, pushes her shoulder and says, "Are you okay, Cassie?" And she, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then just like goes back to like being normal. But we see her smile like is like more forced than before. So yeah, I'm fine.
This poor girl.
Yeah. And that's of course the moment when Amy Baker and her new boyfriend Todd roll in, and they are matching to a T, right? Amy has like her arm locked to his, like, like holding the crook of his arm. They're walking in side by side. They're both in like the most, over the top Hawaiian tourist garb you could ever imagine. And Amy immediately, I think, is just like, I think they both have like Polaroid cameras like over their strapped to their necks, and she like exaggeratedly like looks at Todd, and then you can see Todd's like a little awkward when he does this, but this was choreographed, and so they like bring up the Polaroids, take pictures of like one to the right, one to the left, and then like look at it, and then they both look at each other, and then just say, "What a cool place," and then they just like go and sit down, and everyone's just kind of like chuckling, but it's like super, and then but we see Amy, right, like just as she starts to get to her spot, we just see her staring at you, Zaf, like daggers in her eyes, like. And then
I just kind of go. Yeah. I'm just kind of like, Todd, do you want to take my seat?
Amy says, "Yes, of course he does." And then like, "Todd, right here." And then Todd sits down awkwardly, and then like looks at you and just kind of like, and then Amy like flicks him a little bit, and just and Todd's like, "Okay, sorry." Like sits down.
Once he's like sitting down and facing forward, I kind of like lean forward and go, "You're welcome."
He doesn't respond because he fears Amy's wrath. So yeah, that happens. Iceland, I assume you're in your spot as normal?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm probably, doing my typical thing where like I have my like arm down and I'm just like laying down like this, but yeah. I'm assuming there's a lot of whispers going on.
Exactly. That's the thing, right? Before, Iceland could just go under the radar, but we see Iceland is now, and it's honestly, the way the shot is framed too, it's different, right? Like before, Iceland was always kind of in the background of shots. It was very nonchalant the way that she comes up in frame, but now it's almost as if the entire, like, it's almost as if the people who, the director, like, and the stagehands or whatever, the people, the production team, has reoriented the entire room ever so slightly to emphasize the fact that Iceland is now the center of attention. And so I think everybody's, the three desks that are around you are maybe just 2 inches further apart than they were, right, from yours. And so we just get this like little bubble of isolation that is Iceland, but that makes you stand out more than ever. And yeah, there's lots of whispers. Obviously, Max, Garrett, and Brett are like right behind you. So we see, I think we definitely hear Max and Brett like whispering something vulgar behind you. And you maybe only catch the slightest bit of it, but like, yeah, it's obvious they're talking about you in some capacity.
Do I get any sympathy whispers for like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this poor girl, like the janitor tried to get with her"?
Yeah, I mean, so I think like there are definitely, so we hear some in the crowd, but I think it's like Veronica and Cassie talking, and it's Veronica talking towards Cassie. So Iceland doesn't hear this, but we can tell that there's like, that's like some people in the classroom that aren't like, that are like sympathetic towards you and aren't making you this whole big like thing. But I don't think Iceland picks it up because of her isolation and the fact that the noisy guys are like right behind you. So yeah, to your perspective, it just seems like everyone's talking negatively about you.
Okay.
But it's like, again, it's subtle enough that like you can't quite catch anything yet, right? Like the specifics, like you think you're pretty sure, like the sort of words that you are picking up are just like, ooh, this is gonna be bad. This is like they're all talking about like bad things about me, but like you can't confirm it in your own mind, so it's kind of like driving it a little crazy. So, So that happens. Gree's chair is noticeably absent. And I
Even
think
though it's in the back corner.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Ben and Noah, obviously, I don't think Noah notices, but Ben, obviously, we see him like just glance over at Gree's spot and then like frown to himself.
What's the last interaction I had with him?
The last interaction you had with him was when you like destroyed Noah's mom's kitchen trying to get away from his dad.
I wasn't sure if anything happened.
I don't think, like we've talked to Ben since. Iceland's talked to Ben since, but Gree hasn't. So
okay.
No, Ben and Gree, like, because remember, Miss Quinn erased his memories, and so Ben.
Oh, you're right. No, that is true. That's true. You're right. So right after, basically after Quinn took you under her wing, she felt, and learned what you knew about what had happened to you. Yeah, she did go to Ben Pearson and wipe his memory. And so, but I think like from we can tell from Ben Pearson's perspective, the only thing he does remember is the fact that you were like suicidal before, right? Like he still remembers that, right? He still remembers his interaction with his friend who seemed too grim, and he was worried about him.
Wasn't that like in the first session though?
Yeah, but it was only like 3 days ago, right?
Yes, but that is important for me.
Yeah. To know that. Yep. But yeah, Gree is aware that Ben Pearson like doesn't remember anything from that more violent exchange or more tense exchange. So, Mr. Nick Murphy walks in to homeroom here, and he is wearing
clearly he's wearing like
I was gonna ask
Hawaiian shirt with a fanny pack and like a goofy hat, with like the Disney.
Oh yes, he's
hat.
He's
totally.
Disney tourist mode. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. The goofy hat. So he walks in and he says to everybody, "How is everyone enjoying their vacation?" And everyone chuckles. But yeah, he basically just like goes through a couple of simple announcements. And I don't think he has anything in particular to say that's like plot moving forward or anything like that. So we can kind of zone that out. Does anything happen during homeroom? Whisper conversations from either of you that you'd want to have, or does like homeroom pass?
I don't think so. I think like Iceland, like when the like it first starts, like she like actually like looks over at like Grease spot and notices it's gone. She's like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know that he's like locked up. So she's just like, oh no, something must have happened.
Something did happen. He tried to kill himself. So
yeah. So I think that's the only thing that like she would do. If like the whispers like continue, she may run, she wouldn't run away in the middle of class, but she,
It probably gets to the point, Iceland, where like as homeroom
she's
finishes,
not used to this attention.
Yeah, you probably try to slip out of class as quickly as possible, right?
Right.
Because you don't want to deal like you're gonna have to wade through a swarm of people, and so you maybe just try to get it over with as quickly as possible and just try to like push through and get away. But I don't think it quite works. Right? I think what happens is you hear from behind you, like you've gotten to the door, and then we hear Amy say pretty loudly from behind you.
Oh no.
Let's see, how would she say this? It's a really good thing that Zaf decided to go to homecoming with Cassie, and like some of the girls giggle from behind her, and right as you're like about to like leave, she follows that comment with, before he got stuck with the easy one in the class.
Ooh, burned.
Oh.
What do you say anything, Iceland? Like, we obviously probably get the moment where you just like stop, just ever so briefly, like in the threshold of the door.
Yeah. Because I don't think she's at the point where she would like shut it down, where she'd like say something back in front of everybody, where she'd be like, you know, I don't think she's quite to that breaking point. If anything, I think like maybe a tear falls down her face and she tries to run away.
Yeah, I mean, let's do it. Let's make the roll, all right? That's one of the most the primary roles in this game is
run away.
Run away.
That's
so
volatile, right?
Yeah, let me real quick pull up the game here so I can have the moves open.
Also, I don't know if we ever established what Mr. Nick Murphy looks like, but definitely this time of playing, I just pictured him as whatever the guy who plays Mr. Schuster in Glee, whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah, Will Schuster. Yeah, I don't know his name, but yeah.
Let's see if I can find
like his actual actor name. But
for sure. Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm like, I don't know if that was already established, and that's why it was in my mind.
Honestly, it was like this is how he looked in my mind from the beginning. So, yep.
Like I don't know if we ever said that out loud, but just this time I was like, it's Mr. Shu. Whatever, of course.
For sure. Yep, that's him. Who actually is that actor? Matthew Morrison.
Yes, there we go.
There it is.
Yes, indeed, for sure. Let me just pull up the moves here. Where are the moves here? Here we go. Run away. Yeah, roll with volatile. On a 10 up, you get away to a safe place. Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Run away. It's not going to go well. I have -1 to volatile, but you know.
Well, it could have been worse.
Yeah.
So on a 7 to 9, you get away, but choose one. You run into something worse, you cause a big scene, or you leave something behind.
I mean, clearly I cause a big scene, right? Like, clearly what's happening, right, is like there's probably like a couple people like in front of me or something. Well, and clearly she's already caused a scene, basically.
Oh yeah, certainly.
So basically I just like shove past like a bunch of people.
Yep.
And just like run away. And probably like the tear becomes like I think people
Several
can
tears.
see the tears, right? Like instead of it just being like, like a small, like I'm just teary eyed or whatever. And maybe some people didn't notice. It's like, oh no, Iceland just went out the door crying.
Yeah,
for sure. Like everybody knows.
Yep. And I think like we hear all the girls in the front there just burst out laughing. And some of the other classmates join in. No, yeah, it's totally mean. Yeah, they're jerks. Yeah, for sure. And Iceland runs away crying. Zaf, how do you respond to that whole scenario there? Because you and Iceland had a conversation. What was it about exactly?
I mean,
again?
He knows I'm a ghost now.
Yes.
Basically, I was basically trying to be like, you just need to like not underestimate Miss Quinn. You need to try to stay away from her. Yep. And he was, and for some reason, I don't know why I did this in the moment. I was like, I know you're a vampire, and like you just like need to like you need to trust. Basically, I think I was just trying to gain his trust. Just like you need to trust me and like just stay away from her. And he was like, "How do you know?"
Yeah.
And then hypnotized me into telling him that I was a ghost.
So I mean, all of this is happening as we're leaving homeroom, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So honestly, like I probably don't react to any of that happening at all because I'm like, oh no, Cassie, this is not good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so honestly, I think what happens, right, is Amy and Todd go out of the room being obnoxious, right, and trying to draw attention to themselves for your sake. Amy's doing the obnoxious part. Todd is just kind of going along with it because hot girl. And so they leave, but then Cassie, I think, comes up to you after after homeroom as you're like starting to leave. And it looks like she's totally normal. Like from Zaf's perspective, you saw that note, but like everything you've seen from Cassie is just complete smile, like totally normal. And so she looks like that now. As you look at her, she walks up to you and smiles and then says, "Hey Zaf, so I know this is like totally old fashioned and a little dorky, but would you come meet my parents? My dad kind of has a thing about people that go out with me, and he kind of wants to just, give you the dad talk."
Wow, that's when were they thinking about doing this?
Maybe an evening this week sometime? What works for you?
Why don't we go to my locker real quick and I can check my schedule?
Okay.
And as we go to my locker, I want to try and pull her into an empty space and drink more blood real quick.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so the halls are starting to empty as the next period starts, and you I mean, the janitor's closet's free right now. So maybe Zaf pulls her into that.
Is that just get like the new place?
The new makeout spot? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because making out's exactly what they're doing.
Well, this is not what Zaf's doing. So
that was the joke.
Yeah. So Zaf, yeah, you pull her in there, and what's your feed move exactly again?
The feeding, you feed on hot blood directly from the source. When you feed, choose 2. So I want to make sure she definitely doesn't die, and then I would like to heal a harm because I have a harm from something.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. So what's the third thing that does happen because you didn't choose it?
It doesn't happen. I don't take a forward.
Oh, you don't take it forward. That's what it is. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. Sweet. Yeah. So we see Cassie be pulled in there with you, and I think we see it's a really disturbing scene, honestly, because we start to see this like weird conflict on Cassie's face as this is happening. And it's like this weird, honestly, it's an uncomfortable sort of scene in a movie where you can tell that the gal is not entirely into what's happening, but doesn't feel like she has enough clout to say anything about it, right? It's that kind of uncomfy sort of scene in a show like this. But we see this kind of like back and forth of like her kind of like, kind of closing her eyes and like, going like this. And it's unclear at first if it's like she likes it or she doesn't like it. And then we can just see her start to like get paler and clammier as she just like starts to droop. And then by the time you're done, she's just like out of it. Like, yeah. And she just like kind of puts a hand on your chest, and just kind of is looking up at you like little out of it, like woozy.
I just kind of like say to myself, like, I have to work on that one. Figure out how to do that a little better.
Oof.
And then to cover the situation, I just kind of like hold her up a little bit and like turn her to face me and go, "Tonight should work."
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, and I think she says like very woozily, she says, "Okay, my mom's making pork chops."
Awesome.
And she smiles at you.
Okay, I like.
She's gonna need the red meat.
I like want to like gauge if she would be into it if I like leaned in for a kiss or something to kind of,
100%. Yeah. So like because of your hypnotism, like this, she expects those things are starting to mix in her head right now. So yeah.
Because we got to have a cover reason of why we're in the janitor's closet.
Yeah. And so you guys lightly make out for a little bit, I guess. And let's see, I'm trying to think.
Oh, hopefully she doesn't mind the taste of blood.
Right, I know. I'm trying to think if like someone interrupts you. I don't think someone would. At least not. Yeah, I don't think people know about the makeout spot being the janitor's closet yet. So,
It's going to be a trend now because Zaf
Uh-huh.
comes out
Exactly.
of it, right?
Yep.
And they're like, "Oh, that's like the new spot. All right, cool."
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have a moment where like you guys leave and exit, and like,
I mean, we don't leave together.
of course, yeah. But whatever hall monitor is walking by happens to like notice that something was kind of weird about that. I mean, obviously it was weird if either of you were in there because janitor's closet. But we see that someone noticed something, and you guys leave separately. So, yeah, cool. And so I think we cut to Gree at that point. Gree, you wake up in the basement of Quinn's house. And so before, right, we described Quinn's house as being like neat, orderly, pretty modern, like nice. The basement is every 90s movies dark basement you could imagine, right? Like the stereotypical classic unfinished basement where the stairs go down into darkness and there's not a whole lot down there except for like maybe a little pantry and like random stuff that nobody uses. It's that sort of vibe. You're strapped to an old bed, literally strapped with like medical type straps, like to keep someone from hurting themselves, in like a psychiatric ward or whatever, right? Like, and it's like this old ratty bed with like just one little blanket that you're on top of, and rusty bed frame, rusty metal bed frame, and it's just light enough, because I think this basement has a window sill, like right at the top. That's like just right at the ground line, at ground level. And yeah, you wake up. You're not dead. What else happened? Oh, you lost all your strings on people. That's what it was. That was the death consequence. So
that's why these are all 0.
Yeah. I don't think it's that Gree like forgot anything necessarily from what happened, but before, like, you had this whole thing about your following Zaf and like mimicking his social cues, and I think something about your mind has reset, but in a more esoteric way than just you lost more memory or whatever. You still remember everything that happened, but something about your mind is different. You've reset a little bit and kind of forgotten that what you kind of know about Zaf. But you still kind of remember all the basics of your life up to this point. But yeah, you're strapped to a bed.
Am I technically out of my darkest self yet?
What is the condition for that?
So it says to escape your, because that's what I was just reading. It says to escape your darkest self, you must come to see how someone else feels more trapped than you do. So technically, I'm not out of my darkest self.
You're not out of your darkest self yet. No. And what does your darkest self say? What are you when you are your darkest self?
Your body is a prison. You don't belong inside of it. You need to put it in harm's way and make it suffer, just like it made you suffer. There's got to be a way to cut yourself out of it. You need to meet your makers and hold them accountable to what they've done to you.
The classic Gree voice reading that, yeah.
I mean, I just read
dramatic.
I don't know if I did a voice for Gree, did I? It's been so long.
And that was pretty much the voice for Gree. It was like,
okay,
dark and life sucks, that sort of thing, right?
Yep. Okay, I couldn't remember.
We eat and then we die.
I do remember saying that.
I think it was like Ben Pearson invited you over and said, we got like sodas and I can order pizza. And you're like, we would drink soda, eat pizza, and then we die.
I don't know if it's exactly that, but I do remember something along those lines.
Yeah, Gree, you're still in that mode, but you're strapped to a bed. So,
I mean, I guess I can try and volatile my way out.
Yeah, you just gonna try to like break free?
Might as well. There's nothing else I can really do.
Yeah, you want to lash out physically?
Yeah, that's volatile, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To break out of the bed. Any modifiers? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. 14.
Wow.
Dang.
I'm
Okay, on a
depressed
10 up.
and a hunk.
Yeah, on a 10 up, you deal them harm and they choke up momentarily before they can react. So I think technically this is, supposed to be you attack someone.
Well, I'm attacking the bed.
Yeah, but the trigger is like when you lash out physically. So I think it still fits here.
I break the bed.
Yeah, I think you. So I think what we see from Gree is you're testing the bonds at first, and then I think this is the first. I mean, we know that Gree is supernatural in some sense, right? But I think this is the first time we really get a picture, except for the fact that you like got hit by a train and lived, I guess. But we're starting to get learn more about like what exactly what makes Gree supernatural, and like what weird things he has. And I think you like in this moment you legit have super strength and like you bend and like is this like Hulk mode? Like what does this actually look like when Gree does this?
I don't think he looks like he's putting much effort into it. Like he's literally just like, boom, just rips them out.
Rips them out, yeah.
Maybe he struggles for a little bit, but like he doesn't like look like he's going like, he's just like, yeah.
Yeah, and basement's pretty dark. You can still see a little bit of light through the window, but dusty basement with like various things that have like dust covers over them. And
real quick as a reminder for all of us, I guess, how do we gain experience again?
When you fail a roll, and then there are other more particular playbook related things.
Okay.
You get an experience point whenever you gain a condition.
Yeah, I remember that one. I was just trying to remember.
Yeah, the standard is when you fail a roll.
Okay, couldn't remember. See, if I can see out the window. I'm in the window of her. I'm in the basement of her house.
I guess you wouldn't know that particularly, but that is where we know you are.
Okay, well, I guess could I
in a basement,
and I can see a window.
Mm-hmm. And there's like rickety staircase that's dark and leading up to some dark door at the head of the stairs.
It's probably locked. Okay, question. We didn't really establish this, but I'm assuming like that was tied to a bedpost, whatever I was tied with.
Yeah.
Did I break the bedpost off?
It was metal, so no. I think you broke the straps. But like
darn.
the bed frame itself was like metal, so
the straps would break before the metal. Okay,
yeah,
darn, because exactly. I wanted to try and break the window. What's in the room? Is it literally just like nothing? Is it literally just the bed?
It's like it's a dusty old unfinished basement with like various. It's just the sort of stuff that people keep in their unfinished basements that they don't want in their normal house, right? Like just like a bunch of random junk that like has dust covers over it, and like maybe there's a little pantry with some jars, something or other. Yeah, that sort of thing.
I look for something that I could use as a blunt object to break. Could I reach the window from where I am? Does it look like I could fit through it?
Kind of. Like, yeah, it would be roll. I don't want to say. I can't say difficult rolls because there's no difficulty, and it's the same difficulty always in this game. But like, yeah, it would definitely be a thing you'd have to roll for on both counts.
Okay, I can roll for that. So yeah, look.
I think we see Gree. Yeah, start to look around for something to like break off or whatever to use to like break open the window. But before you can actually find anything, I think you hear a muffled voice. And it's a male's voice, and he says, "I wouldn't do that if I was you."
Who's there?
Yeah, and you
and I kind of like put my fists up and kind of like look around because I can't see obviously who they are. Yeah,
and a dude steps into the light. Right, we get the moment where we can see obviously like eyes, like in the darkness, and then this guy steps forward, and it's the janitor. It's Greg McDaniel. But Gree, you can see that he obviously has 2 large puncture wounds on the side of his neck. And he's paler than he was before. And he just like looks at you blankly and he says, yeah, exactly. And he says, "The mistress doesn't want you to go anywhere."
I don't care what the mistress says.
Well, then I'm supposed to put you back in that bed.
What are my hollow moves? I don't think I really have anything that can help me right now. No, because I don't have any. Ooh. when you take an action that embodies one of your conditions, allowing that condition to alter yourself into your sense of self. No, because the only condition I have is suicidal.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could easily get away with something like that.
No.
Because like I'm essentially looking for the thing that I would need to do that. I mean, I guess I'll just jump and attack him.
Yeah.
He's trying to keep me here. I was like, what else do I do?
Yeah. Go ahead and roll lash out physically again. Roll volatile.
Hello. Oh, thing popped up.
So yeah, agree. Do you like yell? Do you just like silently like just rush to attack him?
Probably what I'll do is I go to turn around to go towards the bed, and then I just like turn around like quickly just attack.
Yeah, with an arm already swinging.
Attack the janitor. No modifiers.
Ooh, nice, just barely, still a full success. Cool. So, you deal them harm, and they choke up momentarily before they can react. Right. So this isn't you kill them, but it's definitely you cause them harm because you're strong. So you like whack this guy across the face. He definitely goes down, and it's just like holding his face, right? And he's stunned for a moment on the ground. What do you do?
Jump out the window.
Well, I have to. Here's the thing.
Glass.
I kind of wanted. I could try that, or I could just keep attacking him, and I could just. I mean, what else? Because the thing is, if I try and go out the window and it doesn't work, he's on me. If I try and search for a weapon and I don't find one, he's just on me. Right now, I'm at an advantage. I think I just attack him again. Because if anything, this is
you gonna kill the janitor.
I mean,
yeah, he is. He's protecting
He's already
his
killed
homecoming
one
date.
person.
No, I didn't.
I know you've been accused of killing one.
Because I don't know if there's anything else I can really do.
Also,
I've been accused of killing. I may as well fulfill it.
I was gonna say some like dramatic way I could do it, but I'm not sure vampires actually breathe.
They do not.
Okay,
No.
so I'll just
that makes
attack
Zaf really good at making out. Let's just be real about one thing.
Janitor.
How much harm do you need to do though to be able to kill him? Do you need to like succeed like 4 times or something like that?
No, it would definitely wouldn't be like that. I honestly think this would grief if you're like an intent. I mean, the intent is whatever the move says, but you're lashing out physically again.
I'm assuming that you're trying to keep him down, not necessarily kill him, but take him out for the time being.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to be able to do anything as long as if I don't do something, I'm stuck here. My best option is to just attack him and hope it works.
Yeah, let me real quick before you do that. Let me look at harm. Let me just double check how this works.
I was about to click submit, so it's a good thing you stopped me.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna take advantage of the moment and try to like attack him, like the thing is, I think you won't get anything beyond making him be stunned unless you go for a kill. But the thing is, you have vampires are killed very specific ways. So, Gree, I don't think you attacking him again is going to accomplish anything unless you have the right weapon.
But would they keep those here?
This is Quinn's basement, so very unlikely. Gree, do you want to let's do this? Do you want to gaze into the abyss? I think that's what you're doing here, right? I think you're trying to remember.
Say because it's Quinn's basement, it would be more likely that she would have the actual tools to kill vampires.
Well, maybe, yeah.
I mean, especially if a vampire is giving her trouble, right?
Yeah.
Like if she turns somebody, she just sees.
I feel like she would kill her own.
Likely.
So let's have you gaze into the abyss.
It's dark, right?
Yes, you're rolling plus dark. Name what you're looking for and roll with dark. So you're looking for how do I kill a vampire, right? And this is mainly, I think, Gree, like, just remembering.
Okay. No modifiers. Partial succeed.
On a 7 and 9, the abyss shows you confusing and alarming visions, but you get your answer nonetheless. So I think what this looks like is this is Gree frantically looking around the basement and just like knocking things over, like trying to find something, anything that like will shock his memory to like, oh, this seems like it would be something that would work. You in the back of your mind, you're like, I know vampires are killed certain ways. I just don't remember. It's been so long. I don't even remember watching a vampire movie, but like, I know that this is a thing. And so it's like this chaotic scene of Gree like tossing and turning everything. And then this guy gets up and you kick him again, right? And it's like you're barely fending him off as you like just like keep looking around the place. But eventually I think he pushes you into like an old antique chair. And it, part of it snaps off and it's sharp, right? And you just see, oh, it's a stake, wooden stake, stab him in the heart. That's what I do.
Okay. And now I roll volatile.
Now you rolled volatile again to lash out physically. Yep.
Okay. Stab the janitor.
Gree is doing really well today. Very nice.
Holy cow. Wow. Okay.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. So we just see this moment where the janitor lunges at you and you just stab him in the chest and he just, and then turns to dust, just dust all over you.
Gree's probably like, he just kind of looks at the steak and just throws it away, just kind of like thinking of what he just did, trying not to think of it too much.
I bet Caleb's plans for that character just went out the window.
It's totally fine. I did have more plans with him, but that's fine. So, but I think it's definitely at that moment that you hear from above a muffled, McDaniel, what's going on down there? Did Gree get loose? And you hear a lock start to turn, like,
Gree's just gonna try and jump out the window. Like he wasn't going to, but like now he's like, I don't have time to search for something. I just gotta go for it.
Yeah, go ahead and roll the runaway, and we'll see how well that goes.
What's that? Which one's that?
That is volatile.
Okay, still volatile. Okay. Run away. Oh, can I get it?
All right. On a 7 at 9, you get away, but choose one. You run into something worse, you cause a big scene, or you leave something behind.
There's not much for me
he leaves a body behind.
No, I don't, because he turned to dust.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
either way, it has to be something else he loses here.
Sure.
I don't have, the thing is, I don't really have anything worthwhile to leave behind. No. Running into something worse. It's running into something worse or cause a big scene. I am causing a big scene. I'm jumping out a freaking window.
I was going to say, like, causing a big scene in this instance would probably be a neighbor sees you crawl out of the window, the basement window.
Then it's this whole scandal of the principal is keeping students in her basement.
Ooh, I like that. Let's go with that.
I got that. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we definitely have that sequence where, like, I think what happens is you actually grab the wooden stake again and like just toss it at the window, shatter it, right? And then you just like are crawling through. And I think your suicidal situation, you just get cut up all over as you crawl out the window, right? You don't care. You're just like, whatever. And so you're cut up all over the place and you come out of the window finally, like getting loose. And we see your feet like go out of the window and then the shot like changes focus and then Quinn comes down the stairs and just says, dang it. And then rushes over.
What time is it right now?
It's like morning, right?
Oh, this is a lot different than I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking it was night.
This is the middle of the day, Gree.
Oh my
right, because it wouldn't make, because Quinn's gone, so it wouldn't make sense for her just to let all this go down if she was there.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, now I'm a bloody teenagers running out of her basement.
Yeah, and so we see I think just like an old man on like let's say the suburban neighborhood. There's Quinn has a fenced off backyard, but it's like a low fence, and then we see there's like someone who has a backyard like porch, and it's like an old man in he's just in like a bathrobe, and he's like smoking a cigarette, and he just like frowns and like sees you crawl out of the basement basement window. And all bloody, and then you just run off somewhere, like climb over the fence and like are running through the neighborhood. And he's just like, what the? And then we see Quinn, and I think it's just like early enough in the morning that like Quinn hasn't actually gone to school yet. And so I think we get this funny scene where Quinn comes out and she's wearing she's also wearing a bathrobe, but it's like, sexy teacher bathrobe sort of situation, right? Like we're getting that vibe from her. And this
we're getting sexy teacher bathrobe vibe.
Yes, exactly. And so we see this old dude just like still like, oh, like washing this, and she's just like, covering herself, and she's like, I can explain, Harold.
I was gonna make a joke when you said I was tied up on the bed and jokingly say like kinky, but now you just meant there anyway.
That's the vibe of this game. That's all right. We can dance around a little bit. But yeah, so that happens, and I think we just cut from the scene there, and we know Gree is like running through the neighborhood. Where do you go?
I mean, I probably go to the school. Because like, where else am I gonna?
That's
where
fair.
else
That's
am
like
I
the only
gonna
place you
go?
know, yeah.
Like, seriously, and honestly, it's the only place where I know people. If I go there, Miss Quinn's less likely to be able to, accost me because there's a bunch of people around.
Yep.
But
yeah, so what we see is we get this
probably
like
look for Iceland.
Yeah, we cut away from that, and we see you come up to the school. I think from behind, right? So we see this like the staff parking lot like in the back here. And like school has already started at this point. So no one's like out here. You see there's just a bunch of cars. You come out from like a little copse of trees, right? On the boundary line of the land here, and you're like crouching behind a tree, and then you look and you see like the school is ahead of you. And you're like, okay, well, where do I go in? But then I think you see one of the back doors open, and Brandon Martinez steps out, the normal edgy kid who thinks you're edgy because you're suicidal, right?
He's all cut up, and he's just like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. He steps out and like props the door open ever so slightly with something, and you can see that he's like smoking something, right? Like, and he's like getting it prepared and whatnot, and looking around, like making sure no one's looking. Takes a drag, and I don't know if you do anything, but like you see her opening, like the back door's open.
I'm trying to think of how I would handle him.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to think of how I've handled him in the past.
But mainly ignoring him.
You know what? In that case, probably what I do is like, oh, door's open. Oh, it's that guy. I just kind of like go and like, wait, what? Okay, what do I know is on the other side of that door?
It's like one of the back hallway. I think it leads pretty close to the gym. And yeah, it's like it's not quite like the door that the staff usually go in is like on the other side of like part of the building that juts out here, and it's like this is kind of smart for Brandon. It's probably the most secluded part of this like outside the school that he could get away with doing this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it leads into kind of like a back part of the school near like the gym that people aren't frequenting a lot at this time of day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so probably what I do is I'd look left, like I'd look both ways, make sure cars aren't coming, and then I'd book it to the door and essentially try and push myself past him without
just not even talk to him.
Because he's the kind of guy to try and stop me. He's like, whoa, you're all cut. Like, it's like, I don't care. Like, I don't want to talk with him. I don't want to get stuck because I'm at the staff parking lot. Guess who's staff?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
I think what happens, right, is you start pushing past him, and he just says, whoa, what, hey, and then just like throws whatever he was smoking away. He's like, if you want some, sorry, I threw it. And then like you start to push past him, and he grabs your arm. He's like, whoa, and like looks down. Your bleeding arms, but he has you by the arm.
I'm gonna slap him across the face. I'm just like, I don't have time for this right now. I'm just gonna no, just smack him upside the head.
All right, yeah, go ahead and roll, lash out physically.
Smack Brandon upside his backside.
You spank him?
No, I just wanted to. It's from a show. I'm gonna smack you upside your backside.
You have spanked him successfully.
He's edgy, but I don't know if he's that edgy. So the thing is here, you are a superhumanly strong science experiment. Hitting a vampire is one thing, right? You're not really going to hurt him. I think you basically snap this kid's neck and he literally just flies across the parking lot and hits the other wall of the building in this little corner here and just collapses in a clump. You just murdered this kid.
I killed him.
Yeah.
Well, what?
Well, wait a second.
Look, at least when I killed her,
Let's back up from that. Let's back up from that. Simply because, exactly. I just read the move again. On a 7 and 9, you harm them but choose one. They learn something about your true nature and gain a strength on you. The MC decides how bad the harm turns out, or you become your darkest self. In this case, I think the way the move is written means it's not in the cards for me to do that with a success. So I think you're safe. I think that would be interesting too, but you succeeded, so I'll give you that. You definitely hurt the dude, right? You backhand him across the face, and you're really strong. He literally, I think flies like a couple feet and just like down onto the ground. Like there's a little staircase that like comes up to this back door.
Maybe like he breaks his arm or something.
Yeah, like something like that, right? Like he like really hard on his elbow, right? In the parking lot, and he just like, oh, why did you? Ow!
I just go inside. I just don't have time for this right now.
And do you just close the door behind you?
The thing is, I just escaped from a dungeon, essentially. I don't have time for this.
Yep. So this kid, Brandon, has been locked out of the school with a broken arm. So okay, that's fine.
Oh, this is gonna end poorly for me.
Good stuff. Yeah. Sagri, you get into school. I mean, where do you go to like?
What I'll do is I'll find a bathroom and kind of try and wipe the blood up a little bit at least.
Yeah, and I definitely think it happens.
Do I technically
do vampires bleed?
Well, I'm not a vampire.
No, but I mean, oh right, because you got caught up. Never mind.
I caught up in the glass.
Yeah, exactly.
Never mind.
Vampires. I think in this lore, vampires have blood, right? But they don't have a running circulatory system, so it wouldn't come out like a human's blood would. If it was an open cut, like it would still come out, but there's no blood pressure. You know.
So there was probably blood on the stake that I drove through the guy's heart.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. A little bit at least.
It turned into ash.
That means there's a bloody stake. Does the blood turn into ash?
I think once it actually came out of him and like onto the stake, I think it stayed and wouldn't dissolve. But yeah.
There's also a bloody stake outside Miss Quinn's.
Yes, that's true. Yep. So yeah, I think we see Greed washing up in the room. And I think, this would be the point where I have a Ben Pearson walk in, but I think that's too obvious, right? I think we're going to cross the streams a little bit here. And Cassie walks in.
To the men's room?
Yes. And you can see that she is really disoriented. Right? She just walks in and then she goes into one of the stalls there and just vomits her guts out.
That's not good. She needs.
Yeah, and then you hear her just like.
Yes, that's every lady's reaction after making out with Zaf.
She's quietly sobbing to herself in between vomits in the men's bathroom right now.
Cassie, are you okay?
Oh gosh. Did I go in I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're here. I'll kind of open. Is the stall open?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, that's okay. I kind of help pick her up. Like, what was? Are you sick? Are you okay? Like,
no, I'm fine. It's stupid. I'm sorry.
I mean, throwing up's never fun.
I just came down with something. Please don't tell anyone.
Are you?
I'll just. I can just. No, it's fine. I need to get to class.
You need to go to the nurse. I can help you get to the nurse.
You know what, Gree? I want you to roll to turn someone on.
Turn someone on,
Yeah.
please. Yes.
Yep, that's what's happening right here.
She's like, wow, someone actually like
Exactly,
cares about
right.
me. She's just so vulnerable right now.
Very.
For Cassie. Partial succeed.
All right. On a 7 and 9, they can either give you a string or choose one of the reactions. The reactions that she can choose from are: I give myself to you, I promise something I think you want, or I get embarrassed and act awkward.
I feel like the awkward one makes sense.
We've done a lot of that one. That's the
true.
obvious one. I'm thinking I promise something I think you want, but I think this is like a little bit of I'm trying to think of like what she would know about you. I don't know.
She knows I sit in the corner and act all glum.
Yeah. I'm thinking this is not along the lines of something that's like conscious on her part. Like probably this is more like a little bit of an esoteric sort of thing that's happening. I promise something I think you want.
Friends.
I mean, does Gree have the emotional capacity right now to care? He's his darkest self.
I mean,
no, that's what it is. That's what it is. Okay, I found
that's what I was going for.
Let me cough real quick. No, but that's what it is. So I think what happens here is, this is all subconscious, right? Like, and none of this is happening on the surface. But I think what happens is, Cassie's like, I don't know. I think maybe I need to. I don't know. I'm so confused. I keep doing things that I don't understand. I'm not like this. I'm not.
And what I was going towards was this is being me escaping my darkness.
Exactly.
Self.
No, and she's going to start leading there, right? You're going to start to realize how trapped she is right now. But I think there's a conversation that happens here.
Okay. I mean, I haven't noticed anything. I don't mean except for you wandering into the men's room and vomiting, but
no, it's not even what I'm talking about.
Oh.
Listen, Gree, you can't tell anyone this, okay? But
okay.
I think I'm kind of dating Zaph right now, but every time I look at him, I want to throw up, and I don't know why. And then he looks at me, and then I'm like, I just want to throw myself at him, and I can't. I'm not a slut, I promise.
Zaph has that effect on people. I don't actually say that. I don't actually say that. I just wanted
true.
to. Do I? And you know what? This kind of comes to my mind because I'm like, oh, Zaph. I saw him do some things that. Do I put 2 and 2 together?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, because like obviously I'm like, I was just attacked by a vampire. Here's this guy. That sounds like a vampire.
And honestly, I mean, so this is the thing, right? Like, I think her sleeve, the way where Zaph has bitten her has been, concealable at this point. But I think she's feeling really hot, like she's like sweating and stuff, and so I think she takes off her like sweatshirt, and it's like I think she did that like when she was gonna go to throw it up, she like threw it on the ground, and you can see like right, like probably right around there, right, like bite marks.
I think what he does was after he Gree's kind of like, oh, I see what's happening here. And he goes, here, let's get you to the nurse. Like, I think you need.
Listen, I don't. I have to get to. And she just like breaks down sobbing.
Am I in her next class?
Sure. Yeah, let's say you are.
Okay. Look, let's get you to the nurse. The next classes we have the same anyway. I'll just tell Mr. Swenson that you needed to go to the nurse. You weren't feeling well.
Okay. All right.
I think he'll put his sweater. He'll put her sweater on her and kind of bring her to the nurse, going like, "Oh, gosh, there's even more I got to deal with now. There's more than one vampire.
Cool. Yeah. And so I think we see you do that. And Gree, that's the moment where you like break out of your darkest self because like it kind of passed without you even noticing it, right? As you hear this conversation or as you hear her lament to you, but suddenly you don't quite feel so trapped,
or at least feel someone else has a vampire problem.
Exactly. Yeah, someone else is as trapped as I am. Cool. Well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and take a break there, and we can come back and find out more monster wackiness when we return. It's been a fun session so far. Excited to continue it. Stick around.